Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 2009 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1. Now this is part of the 6th generation, called the C6, produced from 2004 to 2013. And yeah, with this ZR1 version being introduced in 2009. And this is a high performance variant of the Z06, which was hardly a slow car, especially considering it was really rather track focused. But this takes that version in terms of performance way further, and yeah, helping in terms of that performance is the fact it's got a carbon fibre roof, hood, fenders, front splitter and rocker mouldings, as well as carbon ceramic brakes and magnetic selective ride control, which basically stiffens up the suspension or loosens the suspension depending on conditions or how the car is being driven. Yeah, it's very intelligent kind of ride system, especially for Corvettes, which are usually not known for their you know engineering quality. Usually it's just the basic kind of stuff with a big powerful engine, but this changed that, quite frankly. But yeah, in terms of looks, it's basically the same as the Z06 and the standard Corvette, as well as also in terms of practicality, because it's got a decent sized boot, as you can see. And thankfully, unlike some sports car manufacturers, have not tried to cram 2 seats in behind the front seats there. So yeah, really rather well laid out. But crucial to this car is the engine, which is hugely powerful, even for in terms of today's standards, quite frankly, as it's a 6.2 litre supercharged V8 engine producing 638 horsepower and 604 pounds-feet of torque. Now that's a huge amount even by today's standards, never mind 10-11 years ago. So yeah, really impressive amounts of performance there, and thanks to the carbon fibre usage in the body and the fact that these cars never weighed all that much to begin with, this only weighs 3,350 pounds, which, when you consider it's got more than 600 horsepower and even more than 600 pounds-feet of torque, you've got a very lightweight car with a lot of power on the go. So yeah, being a performance vehicle though, we're going to have to take this out onto the open road and see what it can truly do. Now you might be thinking why I'm reviewing an 11-year-old Corvette. Well, principally because this is a year where the Corvette has been completely overhauled and changed. No longer a front-engine car, it's now mid-engined, and yeah, I'm not really a fan of that, to be honest. I've always liked the fact that these cars have been front-engine and rear-wheel drive, going against the grain. They've shunned all-wheel drive, up until recently obviously shunned being mid-engine. They've gone against the grain, they've not had flappy paddle gearboxes really up until recently. And yeah, to have more than 600 horsepower with a manual gearbox when, Ferrari were producing the same kind of horsepower but sticking with flappy paddle gearboxes is, yeah, just shows that these really were the premier sports car. Now granted, Ferraris, other European manufacturers have surely made better looking cars, and they've made cars that have been able to hoon it around a track and obviously be used as a daily car in terms of quality a lot better, because yeah, Corvettes, especially around this period, were hardly known for their reliability. So yeah, in that aspect, European cars certainly have been more even and balanced in terms of what they can do on a track and in terms of normal road conditions, but this is still a phenomenal car, quite frankly. And yeah, even in comparison to the modern ZR1, which was released last year, this is only slightly slower in it to 60, and is actually faster in terms of the top end speed. And in comparison to the Z06 from 6 years after this, it's actually quicker in terms of acceleration and top speed. So yeah, this is still a really quick car, even by today's standards. Handling wise, it's a little bit precarious. You do really have to be concentrating to drive it properly, and yeah, get the most of it on a track, you'd have to be a really rather good racing driver. But it's still a great car, and yeah, certainly the best thing about it is the acceleration and the engine noise. And especially in terms of torque, it's really good because when you change gear, you can just feel the wave of torque just come over you, and it's just, yeah, incredible feeling, quite frankly. But yeah, in terms of acceleration, 0 to 60 in 3.311 seconds, 0 to 100 in 7.414 seconds, and it going to a top speed of 215 miles an hour. Those acceleration times, yeah, like I said, quicker than the Z06 from 6 years later. Not by a massive amount, especially in terms of 0 to 60 time. But yeah, it's a good way over it in terms of 0 to 100, and like I said, it's far quicker at the top end. So yeah, really do like this car. It is a great shame that they've caved in to going up in terms of mid-engine like every other supercar, sports car manufacturer. It's just, yeah, it just feels like they've caved into pressure, really. Like, we don't need a mid-engine Corvette, in all honesty. The whole joy of Corvettes is the fact that they've been able to have all of this power, all of this speed and acceleration while being front-engine rear-wheel drive. And I feel like with the recent few iterations of the Corvette that they've really nailed it down in terms of handling and performance and, you know, looks and general build quality. So to change all that and just go for a mid-engine layout out of nowhere just seems a little bit desperate in my eyes. I'm sure plenty of other people will enjoy the fact that it's now mid-engined, but yeah, it's really not for me, especially since I don't think it looks all that great when it is, with it being mid-engine, because obviously the looks have had to been changed. Because being mid-engine, you've got to change all the way of aerodynamics, you've got to change the cooling, and you've got to change everything. And that obviously means that the looks have had to change as well. Not that it's drastically different from the one it replaced, but yeah, it's different enough for me to not really care for it, and being mid-engine obviously means that it's just like every other supercar out there. But this car is phenomenal in its own right, and as you can see, huge amount of speed that you can get on the go, no problem whatsoever. Plus you've got that really nice supercharger whine over the V8 base, and yeah, you got easily one of the best Corvettes ever made, and yeah, might not be dynamically the best kind of car out there with more than 600 horsepower, but it's certainly one that set the trend off for V8 rear-wheel drive cars in America having huge amounts of power, because before this you didn't have Mustangs with more than 600 horsepower, you didn't have Chargers with more than 600 horsepower or Challengers or anything like that. They were all lagging behind in terms of horsepower up until this car came along, and then they all changed tactics and went all out. But this is the original one in terms of doing that, and yeah, I feel like it's a little bit underappreciated, quite frankly. Undeservedly so, to be honest, because yeah, all this power with a manual gearbox and not much in between you and the experience of driving is nothing but great as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, it is a shame that they've changed it to mid-engine, but who knows, maybe it will eventually be a good car. I've obviously yet to drive it on a racing game yet, because it's not been released to any racing games, but it will be interesting to see what it can do in comparison to the likes of this and other Corvettes. But just in terms of looks alone, it's certainly on a back foot from the start. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.